most important thing is understanding like who you are, understanding who I am and what kind of people supplement my strengths and resolve my weaknesses.
Raoul Plickat, German marketer and serial entrepreneur who founded Creator Group and CopeCard, specializing in performance branding, a marketing technique that merges personal branding with performance advertising.
I find that with a lot of entrepreneurs, you look them in the eyes and they just don't have it. I don't know what it is, but they just don't have it. I find so many companies, they don't stand for anything. And so it doesn't stand out. It's not interesting. No one really cares. It doesn't resonate.
I like to say no big idea in marketing works twice. We're looking to evolve ourselves. We're looking for something new. It's like inside of us. In order to do that, you need to find...
Let's say you were then taking over a company that's, let's say, doing 10 million. You want to take them to 100 million and beyond. How would you go about it?
First of all...
So before we begin with today's conversation, a word from us at Open Equity. You're probably watching this because you're looking to scale and exit or IPO your company successfully. Well, we have a wealth of resources that are designed exactly to support your success, from workshops, from free guides, from downloads and things like that. There's loads of links in the description. Now, one I want to highlight is a scorecard that we've put together that allows you to assess very easily what it is that's stopping you, what's holding you back from getting to the next level, what's holding you back from building towards that big exit that you probably desire and, of course, that you deserve. So head down below. There's a link to the scorecard. It's 20 or so questions. It takes about a minute to do, and you output a custom report that's designed to support you and give you some practical and actionable insights that you can implement right away and take things to the next level. Let's get on with the show. Raoul, honored to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me, and really looking forward to having a great conversation.
Thank you for the invite.
It's okay. Well, creator economy, digital marketing, scaling companies, payment infrastructure. I thought we maybe start with the big picture stuff and then maybe get into the tactics and details if that works for you.
Sure.
Why the creator economy? What was it about the creator economy that you thought, of all the markets I could go after, this is something that I really want to build stuff in?
Well, I think like most obviously because I started myself as not directly as a creator, but like building the businesses for other creators. That's basically how I started. And yeah, I mean, like that was the obvious way then to go in this direction.
And was that an intention, or was it kind of an opportunity came about and then kind of leveraged that and build up?
Well, it was an opportunity that came around. I mean, like I was like, okay, how can I apply more leverage to the skills that I teach myself when I started out? Because I started with my own clothing brand, and made all the mistakes, but also learned a lot. And then I figured out, okay, like the YouTubers back in 2013, like they got a lot of reach, but they got no monetization behind it, or very basic one, and I can make it better. So that's what I did, and signed like all the YouTubers and personal brands in Germany at that time under my agency, and that was my start into the creator economy, actually.
I think it's really interesting. I mean, I was in Abu Dhabi earlier and I was talking to quite a successful investor, and she works with a lot of musicians and sports people and things like that, and had found kind of they have this amazing reach, but they have no idea how to monetize it. And did you find that? I mean, what is it that creators or digital entrepreneurs should do to be successful in the creator economy? Because so many people, they invest lots of money in making content, or they invest lots of time in it, but don't actually manage to build a business of it. How is it you navigate that? How do you build a successful business?
I mean, like these people at the time, they had not a traffic issue. They had so much traffic, especially like because it's that were like the early days. Where content was easily rewarded. There was not so much competition, and the algorithms were as smart as they were today. So it was quite easy, like to go viral and to build a following compared to, I would say, today. But on the other hand, like it was like more a mass market thing. So if you were in the fitness industry, it was easier to monetize than other industries. So. And yeah, I mean, like traffic was not a problem. The other problem was basically either a product, or if they had a product, beside affiliate deals, then how you can bring in more sales. And because like they were not like business people in this direction, they were business people in kind of like getting traffic, getting brand deals. But when they had an own product, they basically knew nothing about conversion optimization, email lists, running paid traffic, and like basically increasing customer lifetime value, purchase frequency, and getting more clients converting. And this was basically like the infrastructure that I built behind that.
Yeah. I find it interesting. I mean, solving all of their problems, because do you think it's commoditized now, or do you think that there's still this problem? Because I meet loads of creators, they have the massive audiences, and I kind of think you're really scratching the surface of what's possible here. And did you have that insight to think, well, I'm going to be the behind the scenes person and build out this kind of service offering that can deliver that?
Well, I said something like in 2018, I predicted like that the next years will be harder and harder because of technological progress. So like the more we advance, or like and the more technology becomes accessible, like it's easier for, let's say, the average Joe on the street like to kind of like succeed. On the other hand, it will be harder also like to scale, because like the competition is getting fiercer and way more people. So on the one hand, it's way easier because systems, tools adapt, like Shopify. If you compare today to now, to a few years ago.
I remember I started my first Shopify store in, I think it was 2010 or 12.
Yeah.
And it was
exactly.
There was
awful.
There was WordPress, which was still needed some technical skills to get up a website, and certainly taking payments was pretty difficult. Maybe you had PayPal.
Yeah.
Then Shopify came along, and it was still quite complicated.
It was awful. It was nowhere where it's today. You know, like I mean, like there were quite some online shop companies, but yeah, it was like far away from what it is today. And WooCommerce actually from WordPress was like way easier than Shopify at the time. But anyway, so I said then, like, these companies, they want to get more users. In order to get more users, they have to reduce friction. And reducing friction means making it easier for non-technical people. So and this happens abroad the whole spectrum. So not only Shopify, but also, for example, Facebook ads, Google ads, and so on. So that means basically like the entry point is easy, but to scale it is harder and harder and harder, because there are so many people doing the same thing over and over again. That means you have to figure out something to stand out and to break through the glass ceiling, through the magnitude, in order to succeed exponentially, I would say.
I mean, that brings us nicely to marketing, because I find as well, you're doing a lot in terms of brand building, but then also you've been very successful at the performance and the funnel side of things too. Like how do people have that exponential growth? How can you take people and take companies and help them become market leaders, rather than just commoditized or forgotten or overlooked?
Yeah. I mean, like the first thing, I mean, like the most important thing is like the company has to want it. And the person has to want it, like whoever is in charge, like you really have to want it, because like you can have the best marketing in the world. If the team, the person, the brand is not pulling with you, like it's a struggle. It will not work. So I mean, like that's the first thing. The other thing is, I mean, like every brand has an identity. Every brand is positioning itself. So and standing for something. And this is what you want to amplify in marketing. And I think you have to amplify it. And the other thing, what you have to do is like, you really have to figure out like the insights. Like you have to understand the market. Well, from what I saw, like a lot of successful brands, like who grew and like went to a certain level, most of the time they did something intuitively right, but without a system. And you need to build, first of all, like a system like to extract insights from your audience, like from frustration and pain points to the desire. And then you have on the one hand the performance marketing aspect, but you also have like the branding. And I like to merge it together. And I called it also like a couple of years ago, I called it performance branding, because you need both, but like you don't need the branding, what you kind of like think about, or what you learn in marketing books about like nicely aligned logos and whatsoever. Like you can have crappy logos, to be honest, but it's more about branding or a big or branding is basically like the symptom of distribution, and in the end what people can abstract after seeing your brand on social media and YouTube and so on. So basically it's about you find, or as a brand, if you found your sweet spot, you're making sales, you have a winning product, you have a community, then like you can amplify that, and you want to amplify that by distributing the right narrative, because the right narrative is transferring context into your audience. And what you want to, or what any successful brand does, is anchoring this context in your collective audience, target audience. And by doing that, you create mental real estate, mindshare, mental availability, which in the end, then if people can recall you easily when they see a certain problem, hear about a certain problem, talking with their friends about a certain problem, if they can recall this and your name is dropping, then you are on the path, I would say, like to exponential growth. On the other hand, of course, I mean, like it's not a black and white answer. You have to have a great product. You have to have the great customer service. But in the end, it's also again understanding my customers. Who are they? What are their insights? Yeah. So like marketing for me is a little bit like a simplified version of reality alignment.
I mean, to sum up, you're kind of saying, do you actually want to do it? I find that with a lot of entrepreneurs, you look them in the eyes and they just don't have it. I don't know what it is, but they just don't have it. Yeah. And there's that kind of hunger or that energy or that competitive drive or whatever it is. And he says the second thing, it's almost like, what's the big idea? What's the organizing thing of the whole whole thing? I find so many companies, they don't stand for anything. And so it doesn't stand out. It's not interesting. No one really cares. It doesn't resonate.
Yeah, or they're copying, just copy-pasting something.
And then he said a lot about the problem solution and having real insights into pain points and building empathy and trust with the audience.
And the other thing, like another thing is like, now I see like a lot of drop shipping stores or like a lot of e-commerce stores even. And they all like grow to the 1 million region, and then like they stay flat. Basically, they're not growing anymore, and they're doing basically all the same. And like, like they're not breaking through the glass ceiling because they don't think creatively. Like they don't think creative in a way like they do basically what everyone is doing, like run Facebook ads, test a lot of creatives, for example. But like not focus, and they're spending a lot of money by doing that as well. Like they're spending 80K. But instead of thinking, okay, how can I take maybe of this 80K, 100K, 200K, take a bunch of that and do something with it that makes a lot of my creative obsolete, like create something bigger. And you can create actually something bigger with that kind of budget, which is kind of small compared to other things.
Yeah.
You just need to know what to create, or you have to get an insight of what your audience wants to see and what sticks to their mind. And by doing that, with a little more effort compared to just putting out the next UGC creative that looks like all the other 5,000 brands in your industry. Everyone has like the same UGC style ads. Like, think about something different. This takes a little bit more effort. It costs maybe a little bit more than the average ad, UGC ad. You invest maybe 30K in 1 or 2 or 3 ads, but you really invest time, effort, and insights into it. And that makes it makes the other ads obsolete. It creates leverage because it builds mindshare, and you're building a brand and community, and
Yes, I mean, it's super interesting. I mean, I come from the world of more enterprise companies and servicing enterprise and government. And what's interesting is kind of you have these two worlds. You have this one world of enterprise who are slow and not agile enough, and maybe don't have the capabilities to really nail digital marketing and so on. And they're very risk averse as well of trying different things. And then you have these small folks, often very offer based or kind of one thing, who can't quite build a team and can't kind of whatever. And you're right, somewhere in the middle is basically, if you can nail it, then you can disrupt these because they're slow and incumbent and whatever else. But also you kind of make these look very small and primitive and so on if you actually have some kind of capability and ability to do it. And how did you think about building out your team and capabilities? You went maybe from you to then team and so on, because it's something I know a lot of entrepreneurs at all scale kind of struggle with, is actually how to build a team around them that can help them, give them leverage and those kinds of things. How did you think about going through that? Or how do you think about it now, actually? Because obviously it's, as you go on, the scale gets bigger, you have CEOs who are in charge of companies. Like, how do you think about team building and capability building?
I think the most important thing is understanding like who you are. Like, at least that was for me, like understanding who I am and what kind of people supplement my strengths and resolve my weaknesses. I think like that's the most important thing. And then of course, like, I mean, like, speed of the leaders, the speed of the team sounds like super cliche, but it's true in the end. And you have to build a culture around things where you think, or which are important for you. And like every business is in the end like an extension of you. If you're the CEO, it's about something that has meaning to you, meaning for you, reason why you build it.
How did you develop it? Because it's one of those, I completely agree with you, but then thinking about, did you have a real clear point of view when you thought about, I'm going to inject this culture into this company, or this is our point of view on this thing? Or was it an iterative process over time, or how did that evolve?
I mean, like, of course, it's an iterative process over time. Because like as you grow, like you face like all kind of challenges eventually. But in the beginning, I mean, like I started like that. I have my standards, and the people I work with or I want to work with, they should have the same standards as me. So that was like the simple answer for that.
It's a good thing to accept. I have a line which is, I don't have high standards, I have my standards.
Yeah,
which,
for example.
Because sometimes you've probably had the feedback is, oh, come on, you have very high standards. Not everyone's like that. And
of course, absolutely.
And I'm kind of like, well, then don't work here. Or,
yeah. True.
How do you maintain it? Because particularly putting in place CEOs, how do you think about managing CEOs across now multiple companies? Because that transition from being the CEO to hiring CEOs is quite a big pivot sometimes, or quite a big evolution.
And true. Also, it means like letting go, because like in the end, like if you're not steering the ship anymore, like there is an influence of some other values which are not your own, I would say. But I mean, like in the end, like all what you should do and have to do is like to find the right person. Sounds again cliche, but I mean, like that's that's what it is, you know. Like that aligns probably as much as you do, but on the other hand, also has his own way of doing things, and maybe also better ways than you did. in certain aspects, because that's what you want or that you're looking for if you hire a CEO, I would say.
And do you have a particular way that you like to manage performance across multiple companies?
Yeah. I mean, like, we're measuring a lot of performance, but the question is like, where, what, how?
Do you build that with the CEOs, or do you top down? So, because some people do it bottom up and they say, I'm going to delegate and empower the CEOs. They can come up with their goals and then perhaps hold them accountable at the holding company level. Other people top down will say, these are the goals, go off and deliver them. Inevitably, sometimes there's a bit of both. But how do you think about goal setting and performance management?
I mean, like, in my companies, it's a bit of both, I would say. Yeah, I mean, like, there are clear targets that we want to achieve. But on the other hand, like, there are secondary and or like requirements in different countries, for example, and therefore, like, this is something in the end, like, that lies in not with me, or like where I can't have too much say. So this lies in with somebody else.
Okay, so let's go then into some specific kind of strategy tactics. Let's say you were then taking over a company that's, let's say, doing 10 million, selling online. You want to take them to 100 million and beyond. How would you go about it? Where would you start? How would you think about building out that growth strategy, that scaling strategy?
Yeah, I mean, like, if it's an enterprise, first of all, or for enterprise business, usually, like, if there's a 10 million stage, it's usually more about getting the right leads, data enrichment. If it would be like a service-based business, distribution for small and medium enterprises, then I would start first of all with the research. So with the research, conducting the research, figuring out who are the customers, how they're talking, what languages or what specific vocabulary inside the language they're using. So what metaphors, what stories they're using, because this is what you, like I said earlier, like, marketing for me is like more reality alignment, because, like, there's your target group, they have a problem, they see something, and they're stuck. So they want, on the one hand, they want and they need their problems, their desires, their frustration mirrored back at them. So they recognize that this is something for them. Once they did it, they're looking for something which they haven't heard before. I like to say, no big idea in marketing works twice. So, like, we're looking to evolve ourselves. We're looking for something new. It's like inside of us. So, in order to do that, you need to find insights. And this is what you get out of questionnaires, of surveys, of calls. It's like the little things, like the devil is actually there really in the detail, like metaphors that your audience is using to describe a certain situation, a certain outcome, a certain desire, a certain frustration. Like, and if you have then 100 or 1,000 replies and you see them on paper, I personally spot patterns. And then, like, it's for me like going to like playing with Lego, basically. It's like building blocks, and you pick this and this and this, and then you map, like, this is this customer avatar, this is this one, this is the next one, this is this customer avatar, and then, like, you play around with the Lego and, like, fit around the different building blocks, how everything works together. And then out of that, you create marketing campaigns, you create engagement campaigns, you create education campaigns, you create re-engagement, retargeting campaigns, and you put it in a specific order. And then on top of that, like, you take the narrative, you design the narrative, you build in things that build tension, control tension, because that creates cognitive dissonance, which you want to have early on, so you get the tension. and then you want to resolve it pretty quick in order to that people don't turn away from you. And then you want to build in like controlled opposition. You want to build in social proof and so on. And you basically build then the perfect journey from, you reality engineer basically the journey of a prospect from what he has to think when he sees you for the first time to what belief systems you install in him. So he becomes the buyer after 30, 60, 90 days, 6 months.
So you go from research to insight to strategy, then through to execution. Give me an example. Like, what's the example of doing that process that you're most proud of, or that was, most successful, most effective?
There are a couple of them.
Let's go through them then. Because there'll be people sat here going, taking notes of like research, insight, strategy, execution. Yeah. How do I make it real for my company, my business?
Yeah. So, but what is the question?
Sorry, the question is about examples. Let's talk about examples, because I think a real example really brings it to life for people. Was there an example of doing some research where you really found something that then led through to that strategy and led through to that execution?
Yeah, I mean, like
it always happens.
Always. I mean, like it's impossible not to.
Yeah.
As long as you get real good answers, and you'll, one or two takeaways, like never incentivize calls or surveys with like gifts or Amazon, because that's like kind of like the natural behavior that when
people are often very polite. I've found on doing those user research, people are then very polite and they don't tell you anything meaningful at all.
Yeah, and
just because they're like, now do I get the Amazon voucher, or what do you find?
Or like you only get people that basically like want the Amazon voucher and they write bullshit there, So,
sorry, I cut you off previously when you were going to talk about one or two that you're really proud of.
So like you build in there friction on purpose, actually, because like you really want those people like who are like happy, who received the product, the service, who are advocates, and because of these people, you want more. So this is the ones you're carrying the most of, and yeah. So I mean, like. It always starts with research. I mean, like there are a couple of examples. I mean, like I built a lot of personal brands. I built I would say like a handful of consumer brands, and I built software companies and also my own software companies with the same principle. So I mean, like there's. Everything starts with research, and basically, like I explained it, like you're looking for metaphors, like for stories, and then you have like the building blocks. You take it out. You build a landing page for a lead magnet, for example, and you use for the landing page like actually the stuff that you get out of the survey, and that's one thing. For example, there are a lot of people in copywriting, and like they make either self-teach, some are from university, and then they're consuming also copywriting courses and so on. Like, and they're trying to figure out coming up with something. And
I find those people don't really get strategy. They're often very good at writing kind of maybe a sales letter or something. But they don't really get the grown-up stuff.
But even there, like the sales letters, they're like kind of like always like I mean, like you can see like the psychological principles they're using there, like based on sales letter or like based on swipe files, but it feels like
marketing.
And exactly, great copywriters. If you read the copy, you understand the product, you understand the price, and
you want the thing,
what it's all about. Good copywriters. Great copywriters, you read it and you feel understood. Like it's something that you like that you feel inside. It's very hard and abstract to describe, but it's like you feel it if you because you instantly build an emotional connection. And this is not what like salesy copywriting. I mean, like you can combine both. You can combine the salesy, but you have to speak and the language, the dialect of your customers.
Yeah.
Like that's so important. That's the most important thing. And then you can take basically the answers of the survey, take these out word by word, and just reframe them from the first person into third person. Maybe structure it a little bit different. They were talking in the survey, for example, about their biggest frustration, and you amplify it and connect like an additional negative consequence what will happen in the future if they don't solve this problem, if they stick with their frustration, for example. But that's basically like the easiest and most effective way to create instant leverage.
Funny on that, because I mean, my first experience in business building was selling to governments and selling to enterprise, like I mentioned, and in-person pitches. And it is essentially the same thing, which is like,
True.
I understand you've told me that you have this pain, this pain, this pain.
Yes.
We will solve it on this way. We will get you from A to B, and here's how it will go about, and so on and so forth. And, I've certainly found moving then into marketing that through, or kind of doing it face-to-face or business development, then into how to nail the content and how to then execute on that. It's such a world of things to understand.
Yeah.
Exactly like you said about how to become really masterful at all of these different things. Because selling in person, you just turn up and go into a meeting room and maybe have a pitch deck.
Yeah.
But all of this world of things. And do you find people because it feels like that may have been the insight then that led into CopeCard, is how on earth do you take care of all of this infrastructure and bring it together and make it effective and so on? Was that kind of the research then lead to the product and how to market it and so on?
You're speaking about CopeCard?
Yeah.
CopeCard was born out of my frustration. I worked with a competitor at the time, and in the last quarter of 2016, I crashed it 3 times by sending a lot of traffic, successful launches with different clients, and lost a lot of money. And I was like, okay, and on the other hand, like I asked basically for a simple feature at that time that was lifetime value. I want to know the customer lifetime value. If all the people buy or transfer online through this service, then the customer lifetime value should be displayed to me. And you track all the transactions. They were like, no, we can't do this. Our infrastructure is not built for this, blah, 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 blah.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. So
basic thing. Yeah.
It was back in the days. But yeah, so I got frustrated and I was like, okay, I have my own projects. And with these, I can have enough money to build my own solution. And I will save money, basically, in transaction fees. So I make more money just for my own projects. And I can scale them better because I know customer lifetime value. And if this works out, I can also offer it to other people. And if there's a need, it will work. And if not, I have it just for my own projects.
And what are you thinking next for CopeCard? You're looking to scale it up, and is it kind of 3 paths? Either go and acquire others and consolidate, get acquired, take it public. Like, how are you thinking about the path and what next?
I mean, like, in the end, regarding acquiring software companies and small and medium enterprises, it's not too common. First of all, like, because the biggest hurdle is usually like the different tech stacks and the different integration, or integrating like 2 different systems.
Buying Kajabi and consolidating would probably be quite difficult.
Yeah. For example, especially like if one is written in Python and the other in, I don't know, Ruby on Rails.
Yeah.
Good luck with it. Like takes a lot of time and money. So no, but I mean, like the path to grow is usually like figure out where's friction, and we established like the zero rule, which means 0 friction on day 0. Means like in software, usually you have one shot. Because like if it doesn't work and fulfill the expectations, people will not touch it because we don't or we understand as simple human beings that software doesn't change in a matter of days. So if something doesn't work today, we assume already next week, next month, it will not work again. So if there's friction, expectations are not met, people will not use it again and maybe check it out in another 6 to 9 months.
I can just never be bothered. I mean, whether it's an app or whether it's a piece of software, the only exception is the annoying thing when you try a demo for an enterprise thing, you've then signed a 12-month contract and you find it doesn't work. That's tedious. But yeah, in general, if it doesn't work immediately or it's not intuitive, then it's gone, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this is
it's weird, but it's weird that solving that probably puts you ahead of 100%, 100% of the competition.
Yeah, I mean,
no one ever thinks about that onboarding journey. Weirdly,
onboarding is one thing. The other thing is like gamification, reward. We spoke earlier about when we met about Whoop. So this is what they did right. Why is everyone running around with a Whoop? In the end, because when was the last time you opened the app?
I'll be honest, I am the exception. I actually don't use it that often. But when I did use it very often, it was like every hour, like every half an hour.
Every hour?
All the time. I was using it quite often. Now, I barely ever use it at all.
But you're wearing one?
Yeah. I use it to track my suntan.
Your what?
My suntan.
Okay.
I'm actually not joking, but anyway, it's a story for another time.
Okay.
No, but I'm not most users of it.
But I mean, is it charged?
Not right now, no.
Oh my God, that's awful. Why are you wearing this thing?
It looks nice. What's the problem?
You're a really bad example. But
yeah, sorry. I was leading you down that and I was thinking, please, don't use me as an example because it's terrible.
Too late.
But let's assume it's charged and let's assume I use it often.
No, we don't take you at all as an example. That's over. That's done. No, but a lot of people have Whoop and they're using it. So the main question was, and I asked was, or why I asked you when was the last time you opened it, was not because I wanted to figure out something out, but we all see how many different KPIs are there: heart rate variability, resting heart rate, sleep pattern recognition. Now they introduced your age. Basically,
age one's a great one because that's everyone wants to know that, and it makes it a bit more visceral as opposed to something random. Yeah,
exactly. But what did they do? They explained every KPIs with a little bubble, and they made it in a term that that it doesn't break, first of all, the experience, and it looked nice in the interface. So and how many people who have a Whoop today knew before what is HRV? I would say maybe 20% and 80% didn't. So they made they really built a great product that educates people and also, on the other hand, gamified it to foster adoption. And this is what you want to do. So that's why Whoop is for me such a great example, because they proved it through a complete mass market in fitness, where you have let's say IQ is a spectrum. You have people on the higher edge who are more technical affine and get it super fast, and you have people maybe on the lower spectrum side, and everyone is using it.
Yeah.
So and this is something what they did really great. And with the age, they're saying you need 21 recoveries. What a coincidence that it takes 21 days to build a new habit. They would have the data after 1 week. But
like I said to you before this, we've had a few comments saying, "Are you sponsored by Whoop?"
Yeah.
And I will say we are not sponsored by Whoop, but it's a great product, and well done to the team. But what's one, because we started with digital entrepreneurship, we then talked about marketing, we've gone through some examples, and particularly with CopeCard and so on. What next? Where do you want to? Because it's such a it's a Swiss Army knife of skills you can apply in many different directions. But what are you thinking next over that? It's kind of 3 to 5 years about how to deploy talent, capital, etc., etc.
I mean, this is one thing. I mean, I do real estate as well, but more as a hobby. But I mean, the main thing will be always advertising and software, I think. And now also with AI. First time I heard about AI was in 2015. That was very interesting, and in the end met two friends of mine in LA, San Francisco at the time, who started then later to work at OpenAI. And yeah, like my first contact was in 2020, got a beta account at that time. And I think like this is the direction I'm staying, and I'm pivoting also in this direction. And yeah, let's see, focusing on this.
Makes sense. Yeah. I mean, I think everyone's piling into AI, but I think it's, yeah, I mean, we have an infrastructure business. We now have one partner we're working with who's building an AI services business, but I think there's thousands of $100 million companies, if not $1 billion companies that we built in that. So
probably, yeah.
Anything specific, or are you keeping your cards close to your chest in terms of where to deploy within the AI megatrend?
Where I build, or what?
Yeah.
I mean, like obviously marketing on the one hand, because like right now, like what I see, like.
Do you mean with like AI creators and things like that? Or
no.
Okay.
I mean, like,
we just mean generally marketing.
Yeah, like performance marketing. I mean, like, look, I was thinking like my cognitive bandwidth is like maximum 3 to 4 brands I can work really dedicated with and push. That's maximum. Afterwards, I can have the best team around me. Like I just can't take on more. That's my human limit. So the question was like, what
4 vehicles to go after for maximum leverage?
What would be if my bandwidth wasn't there, or in other words, like what would be if I can clone myself with AI? And this is what I'm building right now. And because like you have large language models, and they are fed with all kinds of data they are found in the internet. And the thing is like certain things get always favored because of repetitions, because of training data, garbage in, garbage out. I don't know if you played with ChatGPT 5, but ChatGPT 5 is a perfect example for garbage in, garbage out. So, and the other way is like to build something with specific know-how. And there, like, you cannot find the stuff I know on the internet. You cannot find it. You can find excerpts on YouTube where I talk about, but you can't find processes and stuff like that. And
specific experience and context and things like that.
And especially. So, to put it in the right order, and like to build your own model, basically train your own model on that, and then solve a bunch of other problems with it, from latency, speed, context, and competitive research, making the right decisions. Because like if you explain it, or like if you have something in your mind and you want to train another person that, like, you have to think through it, you have to establish a process, a system, you have to be very detailed, and then you can give it to it, and depending on the person, their expertise before, their attention span and their learning skills, they can take it and go. For if you want to duplicate the same process properly for AI, like a complex process, then you have to really dig deep into this process and break it 10, 20, 50 times more in details than you would explain to a human. Of course, we can make the connections, and like, so it's much more complicated to do it properly. But yeah.
Certainly found that with design as an example, because I remember a few years ago, I think Figma's now tried to roll it out to ride the hype cycle. But a few years ago, I remember there was a few, I can't remember, Desigual or Design, I can't remember what they were called. But they tried to go after basically type in a prompt, get out some UX design or whatever.
Yep.
And they were terrible because basically always, I guess the training had been done in a market where they probably had quite cheap labor and didn't necessarily have high taste.
No.
So rather than having maybe some Scandinavian designers who can look over and refine really good UX UI, you got this horrible mess, and then trying to unpick it was just a nightmare. And it's still, as far as I can tell, it hasn't moved on. There's obviously a load of hype around all of them. Every time I use, to your point earlier about actually using these tools, particularly on the design side, I think it's actually faster if I just pay a designer to do it, because no one yet has got some of those models right, unless I've missed them. But I agree with you fully about the nuance there.
I would say like Base 44 and Lovable, they're decent. Like they're not exceptional.
It's okay.
Passes. It's like just okay-ish. Yeah.
Okay, that's the website.
Yeah. Or like from UI and UX, like sometimes I would say like you get great results, because like I like to play around with these things.
Unpicking them I find is difficult. If the first one isn't right, to then unpick it and refine it. I mean, maybe I'm just like impatient or incompetent, but I find actually just going and paying a UI designer is better.
Definitely.
It won't be in 10 years, but it is now. I would say you're right. I think actually I'm wrong to say that. Like Lovable Lovable as a business, I think they did a great job scaling that out. So it's a super complicated thing to go after, and they've done it aggressively, and theirs is, you're right, a step change away from, there was a few of them I remember, and I think Figma required a few, and they were just rubbish. And it's a really, really hard problem to solve. So I have empathy with that team, really.
No.
Anyway, what's a final piece of advice? We would kind of sum up, and you said, look, if we were to boil this down to maybe 30 seconds, like what would your advice be to someone who's looking to take, and not necessarily a startup person, but someone who's got, a company at some scale, and then now really to kind of take it through and make it a market leader? What would your kind of one piece of advice be that you would give to them? There's always an impossible without context question.
I absolutely love these questions, because it's like, what is the one magic silver bullet? Like, what is the one magic silver bullet? Oh, it's hard to say.
Buy lottery tickets. No.
Huh?
Buy lottery tickets.
Buy a lottery ticket. No. Yeah, I mean, like,
what's the one thing for you?
What is the one thing? I would explain it more on a meta level. Like, I'm looking like what creates asymmetrical leverage. Usually it's hidden in details. It takes some unconventional stand, because there's usually it always hides behind some kind of tension. But this is what you want to look for, because this is what is giving you the edge, and it's not, and you will not find it by doing what everyone is talking around right now, because then it's already too late.
What do you want to commoditize? Yeah.
Exactly. It's commoditized. It's too late just when everyone is talking about it. It's like, what is happening? What are patterns usually? Like, I like patterns. This is just me, but like, I'm looking for patterns that are happening, like some side noise, basically. And what is happening, but no one is talking about it, because the moment someone talks about it, it's too late. It's very hard to replicate. But what is happening right now, and then you can find something that is working, for example, or like something, even like some details within your business. But generally, it's very unprofessional and hard to tell like what's the one magic silver bullet.
Well, I think, but I think answering it to say a principle of asymmetric leverage, I think is a great. It's a great point, because people can search for asymmetric leverage, they can get disproportionate upside.
Yeah, in the end, it's about the intention and the focus on. And if you're deciding like to go for what brings us asymmetrical leverage, like you're forcing yourself like to think differently, and this is what you want to do, because like you don't want to think like everyone else. You want to think differently. Like you want to find the shortcut. You want to find the cheat code. You want to do something that is unconventional in order like to get to your goal, to your target faster than anyone else. Yeah.
Great advice. Thanks a lot for joining me. Appreciate it.
Cool. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
So I hope you enjoyed today's conversation. And if you did, then you should get on our list, because we will be sharing exclusive behind the scenes. We'll be sharing more content, more materials. We'll also be sharing who are the upcoming guests, so you can prepare for that. You can ask questions, and you can really start to be part of a community. Head below, click the link, join the list, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.